I'm Perla Javate, and welcome to our storytelling project of the Coalition of Manitoba Cultural Communities for Families. We invited former immigrants and refugees to share their stories on how they experience social justice in the context of diversity and inclusion of people, of values and beliefs, and how it has impacted their lives, their families, and their communities. We are happy to have with us Htoo Paw, who will be sharing her story. Htoo has a Master of Arts in Human Security and Peacebuilding and has received Human Rights and Next Generation Peacemaker Award for her contribution to human rights and peacebuilding in Burma, Myanmar. She is now working as intercultural support worker for Winnipeg School Division. We're happy to have with us at this time Htoo. Htoo, welcome.
Thank you.
Please tell us who you are, how long you've been in Canada, and which community you identify yourself with.
Yeah. As you introduced, my name is Htoo Paw. I'm from Karen community. Karen is an ethnic minority group from Burma, also known as Myanmar, and I came to Canada in 2012 as a refugee.
So to put context to what we will be talking about, can we start with your life before coming to Canada? Describe to us your family, composition, the important values that you and your siblings grew up with, and the relationships within the home.
Okay, so I grew up in a very small village in very remote area, in a civil war area in Burma. And so like my village, it was very small. We didn't have a school. So I remember like we had to go to a monastery, which we consider as a school. We only had it until grade 4. And there was no like support or like, assistance from the government. All the school was supported by villagers, and then it was very poor, and then constantly like most villagers were farmers. The villagers, I would say, they did good without the government troops, like intervening their livelihood. So I remember, I witnessed, like in the village when like villagers were doing good, but then the government troops would come and destroy or burn down all, the rice farm. So in that, because of that, lives were harder for villagers. And then, so we grew up poor, but my mother, she knew the value of education. So she made sure that me and my sister, after we finished grade 4, she sent us to a small town to finish our high school. Yeah, so me and my sister, we finished high school, and then in the village, the situation was very bad, and then we have all human rights violations committed by the government troops. All of those human rights violations, sexual violence against women and girls were also very common. Mm-hmm. So by the time we were like teenagers, like we turned 16, 17 years old, it wasn't safe for me and my sister anymore to live in the village. And my mom, she heard about refugee camps along Thai-Burma border. So for our safety, she decided to send me and my sister to one of the refugee camps along Thai-Burma border. And then I came to the refugee camp. Me and my sister, we came to a refugee camp, and then my mom, she went back to the village because I still have my 2 brothers, younger brothers there. So me and my sister, we were in the refugee camp, and then I joined an organization called Korean Women's Organization. And that's how I got like all those empowerment training. And then since it was in 2001, so since 2001, I was involved in social justice. Like I was a human rights advocate. Yeah, so I was on Thai-Burma border as a human rights advocate for 10 years before I came to Canada.
Can you still remember any practices and values that you practice at home and also in the community where you grew up with?
So like my village, as I mentioned earlier, it was a very small village, and then there are so many practices that I really value, and one of the practices I really like is like our community, like we always like came together, and then we shared a lot of like culture practice, and then you share food, and then you mainly food is our like our thing in the village, and then even like villagers, because people were like very poor, so they had different things. So we don't really have a lot of money to buy stuff. So we exchange, like items. So for example, like some villagers had vegetables, and then some has more rice. So then they traded. And then some people, some villagers, they were good at fishing. So they had fish, because like we didn't have like market or supermarket or any grocery store in the village. So we had to rely on each other's, like each other's strength.
Yes.
When you have fish, you trade with veggie. You have rice, you trade with oil. I do remember
that's
that.
really interesting. Coming up with ways to support each other and enjoy.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yes.
in your country, did you find yourself already involved where social justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion are concerned?
Mm-hmm. So in my own country, in Burma, because I also only lived there until I was 18 years old. So like in the village, I mentioned because it was the military dictatorship we had. I grew up. So I remember like the government troops would come, enter the village, and they would like arrest villagers without any reasons. And they would just, took everything they want, and that they would burn down things if they don't find it. Like they just do whatever they wish,
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I thought it was normal. I thought, because like my village was my whole world, right? Because
Yes.
we didn't have internet there. Like there was no internet, there was no phone, there was no communication with outside world. So I thought it was normal that the government troops that could come and just arrest villagers and just took girls and women they want. And I thought it was very normal until I come to the refugee camp.
Okay.
And then because I joined the women's organization, and then I attended like human rights training. It's where I learned about UDHR, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and I learned about other other international conventions. And then I realized that that was not normal. What happened to my village, it was not normal. And then when I started to get more involved with social justice, when I arrived on the Thai-Burma border. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. At that time, you were considering coming to Canada?
No, actually, no. I really enjoy working for my community, because the organization that I work, we provide support and assistance to refugee women and children. So I felt like I contribute a lot to my community. I didn't want to leave my community, because I felt like I made like a huge difference to my community. But then I was involved more and more with other bigger political organizations there.
Mm-hmm.
So then it was just like I was a human rights activist, advocate, but then I was involved in all those political meetings, that include all those political organizations, because Burma, we have so many different ethnic groups, and all different ethnic groups, they have different armed organization, political organization is where they make all the decision about the future of Burma. And then so I began to get more involved with the political organization. And then because Burma, we also have very male dominance, culture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all those political meeting I was involved. I was the only a youngest, young woman, but they don't really I know that the reason I was there is because I was qualified. That's why I was in those meetings, but I did not get the same respect. And then when I voiced my opinion in the meeting, they disregard my opinions, and then they would try to just patronize me and say that, oh, you're they will call me daughter. I was just like, no, I'm not your daughter. I'm here as your I'm here equal as you are in the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So then I realized that I actually need more education, so that I can be stronger, and my voice can be stronger in the like in the meeting with those male leaders, you know, and they usually like, yeah, they usually like much older, like my father, my grandfather, father, you know, age. So I realized the importance of education. So I thought like if I have more education, then maybe they would respect me more, and that they would take more of my opinions or, you know, like contribution in the meeting, in the political meeting. That's why I decided to come to Canada. So I applied for a refugee sponsorship, and then I was fortunate, like I was lucky enough to come here and to further my education.
Can you share with us how the transition was for coming from Asia, coming to Canada?
It was completely, different. Because like I've been to other countries before I came to Canada, because I was a human rights advocate, so I get to travel to other countries, you know, like including, you know, like Geneva, New York. I went to UN, you know, to advocate for the, you know, the change in Burma. So like Canada was not the first country I've been to, you know, like abroad, like it was not the first foreign country, but movie, like my whole life, it was, you know, like it was totally different. And then I remember before we came here, we were told like many stories. It's life is going to be so hard, you know, like you will not get the job, you will not get the job you want, because like your experience and your education will not be you know, like considered. So you will just end up, or, you know, like working a minimum wage job, you know, all those stories. But for me, I was very determined. I knew exactly what I wanted. I wanted to come here because I wanted to further my education. I was you know, like planning to get education and then to return and then to, you know, fight with those those male leaders. So I was, I don't care, you know, like because I've been through a lot, you know, like growing up in the Civil War. I knew that I can overcome everything. And I knew that. So with that determination, I decided to come. But I just wanted to share one kind of, it's not funny, but it's kind of like, it's related to like the transition experience here. Before we came to Canada, we were given a cultural orientation, they said, half day.
Okay.
So the cultural orientation was supposed to be giving us the information about like Canada, life in Canada.
Okay.
So
this was given
in Thailand. In Thailand, because
okay.
I was in the refugee camp in Thailand. So that half day, they only give us the information about like, okay, how do you go on the flight, and then how do you, you know, like order food, you know, like in the flight, but they didn't tell us anything about real life here, how transportation works, and they didn't give us any like background of the country. So like I didn't know anything about indigenous people here. I didn't know anything about the you know, colonization here before before I came. So it's only when I arrived, and then I took some courses at the college, and I was just like, oh, I thought Canada was one of the, you know, like the best country in the world. But then look at those, you know, the history of colonization and how they treated, you know, indigenous people. So it was just like, for me, it was just hard to like to learn all those truths.
Yeah. Like
before I came here, I thought, oh, well, I heard about, you know, very good thing about Canada. I mean, Canada is one of the best country. I don't argue with that. But I was just like, when I learned, actually arrived and learned, it was a very bitter truth, you know.
Oh,
yeah. And then life was totally different, because I was living in Thailand as a refugee, like for 10 years. So I didn't really have like a status, you know, like you were a refugee, so you were not allowed to leave the camp. So when we like actually left the camp, we actually have to arrange, we have to make some special arrangement with Thai authority, you know. It was so like whenever you travel, you always have that worries, if you are caught then by the Thai authority, and then you will be in jail. So coming here, the biggest thing for me, the biggest relief for me is that I don't have to be afraid of being caught anymore, you know, like but still, when I see police on the
Mhm.
street, like people with uniforms, oh my God, you know, like it,
Yes.
because it stays there, you know, the
Yes.
PTSD, you know, the trauma
Right.
that you experience in like living in Thailand or living under your own country under the military dictatorship. It was just like it doesn't go away. Even until that day,
Okay.
when I see the police car, it's like sometimes I forget that I'm in Canada and I'm still, you know, yeah.
So your first few years here in Canada is basically in school,
Mm-hmm.
you know, pursuing your master's.
Yeah, no, actually, I had to start from the beginning because I only finished high school in Burma, and then when I was in Thailand the whole time, I didn't get any formal education. So I attended all those training, but it was not like it was not from the formal institution. So I did not have any formal education. So when I first came here, I had to take English courses, you know,
Okay.
upgraded courses. So I started like my education journey is very hard too. I started from the beginning, so it took me longer than it was supposed to. And it was very hard the first few years because I wanted the education so bad, but then I did not have any like support system. So I had to work, and then I had to do like I had to study. It was not easy the first few years, but I do have like some friends who are very supportive. When I moved to Winnipeg, without their support, it wouldn't be easy for me. Yeah.
Were you able to get any support from government or any private agencies? in
So
terms of-
when I first came here, because I came here as a government, not government, I came here as a refugee. So like the group of five sponsorship. So the first 1 year, the first year, like I got like you know, we got support, right, like rent and stuff, a basic you know, allowance. So for 1 year, but after 1 year, I did not get any other support, so I had to take student loan. So right now I'm still paying my student loan.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I did not like I did receive some scholarship, but not from Canadian government or organization here. It was from one of like U.S. There was one organization that's a Burmese refugee with the education. So I did get some scholarship, but not from here in Canada. Yeah. In Canada, I got student loan, but I mean, like I'm still paying back the student loan here. I'm not actually complaining because like back home we didn't even have that, you know. And here at least like you have the student loan. So if you really want to further education, there is actually, you know, like alternative for you. You know, you can get a loan, and I think for me it's worth it because like at home we didn't even have this kind of loan program. Yeah.
Amazing.
Mhm.
With all the journey that you've gone through and pursuing your education and coming out really successful, what do you think is your life now here in Canada? How do you describe it?
The first few years were definitely like harder. And right now, I think I am doing better, but I'm still coping. There are still a lot of challenges. You know, like I face daily. You know, because especially I live alone. I don't have any blood relatives here in Winnipeg. So it's a struggle for me every day, you know. It's a struggle for me every day. But I do have a support system. I mean, here we have a current community, and whenever I need help, you know, I can reach out to them, and then they will do. If they will help if they can't, and you know, I like because all the support that we give in the community is like. It's two ways, you know. Like I also help them what they need with the document filling, complete the some of the form like document they don't understand, translate for them, and sometimes when they need help, you know, so it's give and take. Yeah, it's reciprocal. Yeah.
How's the Quran community here in Winnipeg?
The Quran community, like in here, like we have a Quran community of Winnipeg. I think is what it's called. It's not very strong. It's not very strong because I think one of the reasons is because most Korean families here they actually work. You know, they have to work, and then so whenever there is a meeting, like a community meeting, like people can make it. You know, because it's weekend, and then they work they work the whole week and they want to spend time with their kids, or like some parents they work weekend too, so they don't it's really hard for them to find time to come to the community meeting. So it's not very strong. Yeah.
Do you find that in your community they're able to preserve some of the practices and values that you have from your country?
Yeah. Well, I think we are trying. We are trying, but I think it's getting. I think it's one of the challenges that the Korean community, or maybe other community, experience too. That you want to maintain your cultural practice, but it is getting harder every day, right? Because you have to catch up with your life here. You have to go to work, and there's a lot of activities, and that your kids are doing different things. So and also like with the current community, I think language has become one of the barriers. Parents work full time, kids go to school, parents don't speak English, kids don't speak Korean. Because they go to school, so even when kids and parents they talk to each other, like parents we talk to them in Korean, the kids we understand, but they can't communicate. So like in the work that I do, I see the frustration between kids and like parents every day. And then the parents will say like, no, they don't, like my kids don't listen to me anymore. And then when you talk to the kids, it's like my parents don't understand me, but then you can see that they can't really communicate to each other because of language barrier. But in the community we also like try to have a language, language lessons, usually through the church, like Sunday school. But again, not every parents have time to send their kids, every Sunday, or the lessons that we have is also like very limited, so it's not very effective.
Have you seen changes in the community that concerns you?
Yeah, one of I heard from the community because like I work with like family very closely, right? Mm-hmm. One of the things that really concerns me is like gambling. Gambling, also like drinking, because those are like gambling. Like back in the camp, we did not have that. And then people like didn't have money, so they couldn't they did not know about this new what's it called, new experience, how do you call it, but when they're here and that they are making money, they're working, and that they are also exposed to like gambling and other like drinking and other drug use. So I heard from my community, like some community members are drug addicts, and some are really addicted to like gambling. So that's one of my concerns. Yeah.
So do you think you're starting to develop leadership within the community?
I have always been involved in the community, but as I said, like at times I got frustrated because like whenever we had a meeting and we invited our community members, we didn't have many people show up, so I got disappointed. But so right now I was not the direct leader, but I'm like more, I play more in the as a advisory role. So I told them whenever they need help, they can call me. Whenever they have a meeting, if they want me to facilitate, I can go and do that. But I was not directly very involved.
So in your role as an advisor for your community, do you find there's hope that you can work for?
Yeah, I always have hope. I think without hope we can really do anything. I have hope, especially on the future generation, and I can see that many current young people, comparing to other culture group, I would say, because I work in a school where there are so many diverse groups. I would say that Korean, compared to other groups, the rate of students continuing post-secondary is very low until now. I start seeing there are also like hopes with like even like younger generation. Now they talk about going to university, and then especially I remember there's one girl I work closely with, like I support the family very closely. She went to the school in North End, and then because she was like, whenever I saw her, like I think she's now like 40 or 50 years old, like she was always like very eager to learn, like the parents don't speak English at all, and that she would try her best, like to help the parents. I know it must be hard for her too, because she's 30, 14, and that she has to, like help the parents to fill out the form, and but even that when I talked to the parents, and then the parents said, yeah, we wanted to call you back. Our daughter said she's going to try first, and then if she doesn't understand, then we call you. So I can see that she is developing, the independence, like to support her family and to support herself. And then now she get to go to University of Winnipeg Collegiate, and that she got scholarship. So I'm very proud of her, and she is not the only student. There are also other students like current students like her. So I am hopeful. I think I hope that she will continue the post-secondary, and I hope there will be other younger current people like her.
How big is your community now?
I'm not exactly sure with the number. I think about 500 to 600.
Families or
No, people.
People.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With all the services and programs we have here in Winnipeg, what else do you think should be done to help out newcomers?
I would say like in Winnipeg we do have a lot of newcomer survey agencies, and I think it is a great thing. I think it's a great thing. But all those agencies, they also have their limitation, right? So they say, okay, like we will serve you up to this year's, like 5 years, let's say for example 3 years, 5 years, and then once you are here longer, the services that you can receive can be also limited. And then for community, like current community, they need continuous support, regardless of how long they have been here. Because like current community, if you look at them, most of them came around 2007, and then you would think that by now they are independent. They shouldn't need support or help anymore. But those parents, especially the parents, they still need support because like they don't learn the language. And then I had a conversation with another colleague the other day, because she came from a totally different country, like a Western country. And then when I shared about one of the single mom I work with, she's been here more than 10 years. She did not speak any English, and she is not doing well now. She wants to go back to the refugee camp. And then my colleague, she doesn't understand. She said, how come she's been here more than 10 years and she doesn't speak a language? And then I told her, like those people, like the current people, many of them, their whole life in Burma, like they were fleeing all the time because of the government's, the government's troops, attacking them constantly. And so they they never went to the school, and then they were in the refugee camp, and then they didn't go to school. So many parents that are here in Winnipeg, they are illiterate even in their own language. So when you're illiterate in your own language, it's really hard to learn a new language.
Exactly.
So like the parents that I'm talking about, like just not one actually, there are quite a few numbers, yeah. Like they went to the language school, like they are still going to the language school, but they need help. That I can see that they will learn the language in any time sooner. Like, so those people like in similar situation, they continue to they need the continuous support. And then I think we do have many many agencies and organizations, but I think we need like the organizations to maybe like to reconsider some of the services that they provide when if they have like the limited years, and maybe that they consider expanding it to, like, doesn't matter how long you're here, if you need support, you should receive support.
So can you comment on diversity and inclusion in your community and Winnipeg as a whole?
Yeah, I want to start with my community. The community itself is very small and very isolated. Like I'm sure they know the importance of going out and meeting a larger community, but I think they have that fear because of language barrier. I remember we had the ECCM, a dinner. I was supposed to invite like 10 people,
right.
And then I called them, and then I knew that they were excited. They said I wanted to go, and then there was just like, no, like also like how's good to like to be like, I can see that they were worried. They were worried about going out there, like be with a larger community. So because of that, they're not very exposed to the larger, community here in Winnipeg. And also because we are not very actively, the community is not very actively engaged with the larger community. The larger community also don't know much about the current people. That's how I see it. Yeah, because I think it's we have to start. My community has to start. I think exploring or like going out more to meet with a larger community here.
Have you heard anything from your community in regards to how the bigger community, other people in the community have received them?
Not much, because I know there are only like a few people, including me, who work who work with newcomer, community. So one or two people that work with a newcomer survey agencies, they know about like other cultural community in Winnipeg, how the community are organized and how community are trying to support each other. But again, with the current community, because whenever we try to give that message, we call a meeting, people don't have time to come or don't show up. So it's really hard for us like to give the message to our own community about what is happening outside of their own community.
How are children in school adapting to the school?
I would say for the kids that came with their parents in 2007, for them it was probably harder like to adjust in the school system here, because before they came to Canada, they were in a refugee camp. So the school in a refugee, there are schools in the refugee camp, but it was not like a proper school, So when they came here, they had to adjust, adapt the new like education, like school system here.
Right.
So I imagine it would be more challenging for them. But I think for the kids that are born here these days, it's easier for them to adapt, because they were born here and they are. This is the only school system they know of. So for them, it is easier. But I can see that I also like work with families. Kids are at school, and then we have a meeting, and then the teacher said, the students might have like learning, challenges. Is that because of language barrier? And then we have a meeting with the parents, and then the parents will say, the English is the only language they speak. So I know that it's a language thing. I mentioned before, like parents speak Karen, the kids speak English, and then sometimes parents get frustrated because kids don't speak Karen. So parents start to talk to their kids in broken English. It doesn't help. It doesn't help academically, So then when they have a meeting with teachers and the parents are confused, it's like English is the only language they speak. How come they're not doing well in the school? So even I said, it is easier for kids here, but I can see that in terms of learning academically, there is a challenge still.
It's a big challenge. The language seems to be the biggest challenge that you have.
Yeah.
What else do you think can our government do to help out the community?
I want to say something, a challenge, right? So we talk about kids challenge, and then another challenge that parents and the community has is learning about the system here, how the system works here, like that includes the education system or how justice system works here. I mean, they've been here for a long, long time. They should know, we imagine they would know, but many of them still don't understand about how the system works here. So I have the parents group at times explaining to them about, how parenting, should be here, which is harder, which can be challenging for parents, because back home how they raise kids is different from how they should be doing here. So that's another challenge, and then you try to talk to them, explain to them about the system. It's like, okay, this is how the system works here, and then they don't understand. Like they just blame it. It's just the government here should not involved with the family issue. So like no matter how hard you try to explain to them about the system, some parents still don't get it or still in denial to accept the new system that they are here. And then I think in terms of the governmental support or the support from newcomer survey agencies, I think we need the continuous support, especially the community. My community is very low. The education level is very low, so this kind of community, similar communities, I think we need the continuous support in terms of training, in terms of just information. Yeah.
Thank you. So is there anything else you would want us to know about your experiences?
I think for many refugees, for many new Canadians with refugee background, we are here, and if we compare our lives from the past to where we are right now, it's a huge difference, but it's a constant struggle. It's a continuous struggle every day. We have to keep trying. So we have a new life here, but it doesn't mean that it is easier. So we have to it's a different challenge compared to what we struggled before in the refugee camp. It's a different challenge. We have to keep working on it. We have to keep try to overcome the challenges. Yeah, it's a continuous struggle, and I think the people, the new Canadians, the people ourselves, we will continue to try, but then from the government side, they should also have continuous programs, programs as support to continue supporting the new Canadians, the newcomers. Because I think the government should know that some people that they are taking, no matter how long they are in Canada, they will need the continuous support. Some may need the support their lifetime.
So what do you think will be better in 5 years in your community?
Well, I'm hoping more students will go to post-secondary, and I know some are in the university right now. A few of them, you can count 3 or 4 of them. They will be done with their university, and I hope they will come back to the community and try to help the community to grow bigger and then to be connected with a larger community here in Winnipeg.
So truly hopeful with our young people, and for most immigrants, that's usually the hope they have. They came here to make life better for the children, and let's wait for the next generation to do what needs to be done to keep our communities going forward. Thank you so much too for the great story that you shared with us. Through your story, I'm hoping that the community, the wider community, will learn about the Quran community here in Winnipeg. And so this conversation will keep on going with different stories. Keep posted. I'm Perla Javate, your host. Thank you.